To hear those in the know say that the end of the global financial crisis is in sight, but the reality is far different. Comstock Trading CEO David Zwebner charted a grim course for global financial markets and advocates of a strategy of preservation during these uncertain times. Zwebner should know he has Israel's top-performing mutual fund with a return of nearly 14% since the start of 2009 and gains of more than 28% over the past 12 months. Earlier this week, I got Zwebner's take on what one can do to weather the financial storm.
The biggest problem is preserving what you actually have. So number one, forget trying to get a good return on your money, which is almost impossible today. First, you want to make sure that where your money is should be in a safe place. Diversify, move it to different banks. Move it to banks where you do have some kind of guarantee. Right? Once your assets are safe, then you can start looking for interesting investments. Buying an apartment and renting it out is giving you today a return of about 3% in Israel, which is not bad. And Israel, I think, will suffer less than the rest of the world because basically we're a much more socialistic country, and we have at least half the Jews in the world living abroad, and many of them will start wanting to come to Israel now because the situation is so bad in the Western world. So really, I think you've got to look at safety of where your funds are at the moment. I think the U.S. government are reacting all the time because nobody really knows what's happening and what's going to happen. We're in totally uncharted territory. I think the government faced a situation of, should we allow the banks to collapse and then all the people and their companies will all collapse, or should we support some of the banks and then hopefully not all the people and the corporations will collapse? So the decision was taken, support the banks no matter what. They're coming up with all kinds of interesting ideas like get rid of toxic assets. But in reality, all you're doing is you're taking the garbage and you're moving it from one room to another. And now the next idea will be to try and sell the toxic assets to the public. Now, I'm not sure the public is going to buy it unless it's given away at such bargain rates that it'll be given away for nothing. So what have you done? Nothing. And to finance all of this, the governments are printing money just to keep everything going. Basically, the governments have a very tough job ahead of them, as do the people. And I think the best thing to do is to steer clear of the markets and don't go near them. The fact that things are cheap now doesn't mean they're not going to get cheaper. And I think we're still on the edge of a further precipice. Things will get a lot worse.
What do you think could happen?
A lot more that's been happening until now. I think as far as the banks are concerned, the banks are either going to be nationalized or be allowed to collapse. But basically all the banks in the world are really bankrupt. You're talking about the American markets, but I look specifically at the world because the world is totally interconnected. Things will be getting a lot worse. I think we're going to have protectionism. At the end of the day, everybody looks after their own family first. You could well see a breakup of the EEC, which would mean a collapse of the euro. I see things getting very bad.